Hi guys, this is Kristen Noe Jukes, and today I'm making a video on me painting my Jane Davenport Butterfly Effect journal, which is pretty much a standard size traveler's notebook cover, but the cover is made of canvas, so you can put a lot of different media on. And here I'm actually putting some watercolor down to see if this canvas will take it, which it totally did. It absorbs a lot of water. And I'm using my Daniel Smith watercolors in the palette that I put together. So I'm using some quinacridone gold and some nickel azo gold and some Hansa yellow light. And I'm just laying down color kind of randomly to kind of give a base for my acrylic painting and my drawing. And I use my hair dryer here to dry, obviously. So here I'm taking some clear acrylic gesso, which I also got at Michael's. I can't remember exactly the brand, but I'll put it in the description box down below. It kind of looks white when you first put it on, but as it dries, it'll dry down clear. And this will actually give a good base for you to put acrylics on, and you could probably put a bunch of other media on top of this. It's kind of rough, but I kind of like that to give something for the media to adhere to. It takes a lot of this gesso to cover because the canvas just absorbs it and soaks it in so much. But that's okay. I want to get a nice coat, and then I'm going to use my hair dryer again to dry it off. So here I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to sketch out my idea for this cover, and my plan is to draw a bee because I was kind of inspired, you know, summer's coming to an end, but there's still a lot of bugs outside. And I really, you know, have loved yellow lately, and I thought it would be really interesting to see if I could kind of draw a bug like as a butterfly journal. I didn't want to do a butterfly, I wasn't really into that, but I wanted to paint a bee. So here I'm using golden liquid acrylics, and this is an indigo color that I really love because I don't really like using black all that much. I feel like it doesn't have as much life to it and doesn't really, it makes things a little muddy. So anyway, I'm just using a little brush and I'm putting in all the dark parts first, and then later I'm going to go over and paint over that with some lighter things and some paint markers, some POSCA paint markers to add detail. So I think I'll stop talking here and add in a little music, and then I'll come back later and talk about what I do from here on. So here I kind of wanted to talk about what I'm doing for these wings because I want kind of a transparent look. So I kind of left space for them, and I'm kind of sketching out where I kind of want the veins in the wings to be with my POSCA paint markers. So I'm kind of deciding where I want those, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer acrylic mixed with matte medium and some GAC 900, which pretty much just extends fluid acrylics and kind of makes them more slippery, and I really like that. Over the lines to kind of lighten them up and give them more of a translucent effect. And you'll notice later that I also put paint over the outlines of the wings, again to give it a little bit more translucency. And then you'll also see me paint in a little bit of acrylic where the translucence of the wings covers the bee's body. Here's where I pull out a stencil that I hand cut. I drew these hexagons and I used an X-Acto knife to cut them out of a piece of Bristol board to make a stencil. And I'm going to stencil on these honeycomb in the background. And I'm just using the Golden Fluid acrylic paint again, and I picked kind of more of a transparent color, and I mixed it with a lot of that matte medium, so it makes a kind of more translucent look. So, and I just moved the stencil around to line it up with previous parts that I had painted. You'll find that after I pick the stencil up, sometimes I have to clean up, and I'm not worried about it looking perfect because I want the background to kind of be a little bit more, you know, figurative and not as blatant and detailed as the bee. Here I'm starting to use this gold paste, and I think it's like a beeswax based paint paste, and it's metallic. It's really shiny metallic gold, and I really like it. It's kind of distressing looking, and I also got this in Michael's. I can't remember exactly the brand, but again, I'll put it in the description box below. And I just wanted to use this to hit parts of that honeycomb in the background to give a little bit more interest to it. So this is like a very interesting texture of a paste. It's very thick and it is kind of beeswaxy like, but you have to be careful where you put it. And I'm using more of a hard bristled brush to apply it and kind of burnish it into the canvas, which worked pretty well. Now that I'm finished the front cover, I really wanted to try and paint the inside as well, but I didn't want to mess up these turquoise elastics in here that hold in the notebooks, so I did my best to kind of wrap it in washi tape, which worked okay. I still get a little bit of paint on it, which kind of sucked, but what can you do? You can't really take out the elastics without cutting it. So I decided I wanted to paint the inside this dark blue color, but then I realized that I hadn't put gesso on first and it was absorbing so much paint. So in the middle of painting the blue, I started to apply the clear gesso again, so that's why it looks like such a mess. Like, it'll probably look like a hot mess for the next couple minutes. But I put on gesso here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to coat the whole book in the inside of the book in gesso, and then I'm going to coat it in my dark blue paint again. At this point, I've cut the washi tape off of the elastics, and it worked out pretty well. I only got a little bit of the dark blue paint on some spots of it, but it kept it pretty clean. And then I used washi tape to make stripes across the cover, and then I'm going back in with that gold wax paste with like a sponge. This is kind of one of those sea sponges that you can buy in a pack at Michael's. And I'm just rubbing that into the canvas on top of the paint. And then I'm going to peel up the tape, and it leaves me some pretty nice stripes. So as long as you rub with the grain of the stripes instead of against it, it works out pretty well. And I'm just going to use a POSCA paint pen in the lower corner, and I'm going to sign and put the date, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was very, very long, but if you enjoyed it, please leave me a comment down below, and I hope to have another video up next week. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great week.